The absolute best wired game controller, PowerA Spectra Infinity. The feel of the PowerA's Spectra Infinity controller is similar to an Xbox controller. I mean, it basically looks like one too, but that's not a bad thing, as Xbox controllers are very ergonomic. Though I've never been a fan of the offset analogs. Let's plug in the controller with the generous 10-foot cable, which as you can see, has a locking mechanism. To release, you have to firmly squeeze the two tabs on the sides to pull it off. Right away, we see that my clammy hands do leave marks on the smooth, soft surface of the controller. It's got glossy XYBA buttons color-coded in the Microsoft format. The D-pad is all one piece that rocks in place. Down at the bottom, we see a semi-transparent silicone button. It's very soft to the touch, and it's for your headset input and output, which we'll talk about in a bit. The analogs are very smooth, as expected from a new controller, which we'll see how long that lasts. PowerA does brag about the anti-friction rings lining the analogs, so hopefully that helps with longevity, because analogs are usually what breaks first for me. When pushing the analogs to the sides, I did notice that they have slightly more resistance than most controllers. Now, if we look towards the front of the controller, PowerA has something interesting up their sleeves. The trigger buttons are adjustable with trigger locks. Here it is at level 3 with no lock. To set a lock, it's in the back with this notch adjuster. We push it to level 2 to lock the trigger when 60% pressed. And at T1, it stops at about 30% press, almost immediately. Do not use any trigger locks if driving a vehicle, meaning keep the trigger set to T3. I learned that the hard way in Warzone when my car would not accelerate fully out of the gas because I had it set to T2. So I was only accelerating at about 50% and it couldn't launch off the rocks. Here's the comparison side to side. Here's some more gameplay footage of me using the controller. Crossbow only as usual. The perks of a wired controller is responsiveness. You can be assured that there won't be any input lag, no matter what. On the back as well, there's a program button above the LED button. That button is used to program the 2 extra buttons on the controller grip handles in the back, here and over here. I programmed them as tacticals for Warzone as I don't like the front left and right buttons for this controller. To program, you hold the button down for 4 seconds and the small light in the front will blink slowly. Now you can select the input button and the small light in the front will blink fast now. Now you can select which of the additional grip buttons will adopt the input you selected. In my case, it will be set to this AGR button. Now the small light will be back to solid, meaning you succeeded with button mapping. To adjust the LED lights, you will be looking at the back of the remote again. And there is a LED button that you will hold for 4 seconds. And the small light in the front will blink slowly. There it is, blinking slowly. Now using the D-pad, pressing it to the right will select an area for you to change the color. And selecting the X, Y, B, or A button will change the color of that area. You can press each color multiple times for even more colors. If you press left on the D-pad, it will cause the LEDs in the selected area to pulse. which will be the left analog and XYB inputs in this case. I'll change the color to red. Actually, on second thought, I'm going to change it to my favorite color, cyan. Yeah, man, that's much better. Oh, and I took off the pulse by clicking left on the D-pad in the selected area. Now you won't want to forget to take it off LED customization mode or your controller will not be sending inputs to the computer. You can still see the slow blinking light. Just hold the LED button in the back for 4 seconds again and the light will turn solid. And lastly, for audio, if you have headphones or if you have a headset, you can plug it in directly to the controller. I have noticed that the sound quality isn't as dynamic as plugging it in directly to the computer, but if you're on console, it shouldn't matter either way. With the Runmas headset, there is a USB and a 3.5mm aux. Yours should be the same or similar. Pro tip, the 3 black lines stands for stereo left, stereo right, and mic input. You'll be inserting that aux into the hole below the silicone audio button. The button will be muted automatically, showed with the red light. And pressing the button will unmute it, and pushing it left and right adjust the volume. Here's what it looks like in a gaming environment in the dark. Now if you have a headset, it should already have a mute switch on it and a volume dial. But hey, if it breaks, you have a backup now. Thanks for watching, and we'll check you out later time. Oh, and if you can, please like, comment, and subscribe to help support this channel because my wife sure doesn't.